nobody in our department works harder for the betterment of young people in the state of Florida than Saundra TenBroeck.
She has the rare ability to connect with whoever she's talking to. It doesn't matter if they're 8 years old or 80 years old. When she's talking to someone, they know that she is totally focused on them.
She's an icon when it comes to being a mentor and someone who's passionate about developing young people to go and be successful, both in agriculture and in life.
Dr. Saundra TenBroeck was born Saundra Lee Hodge at Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina in 1956. She was the second of 4 children in a military family and moved around the globe throughout her childhood.
Lived in 15 houses in 15 years before I was in the 9th grade. We lived in Japan for a year before my parents split up, and then we moved back stateside, back to South Carolina, which is my home state, and settled there.
They never lived anywhere without a pen full of bird dogs, her dad a talented trainer and avid hunter and fisherman. Though not born to an agricultural family, she grew to appreciate farm life. On family vacations, they visited her uncle's dairy farm, and eventually they moved to the country. She worked in tobacco a couple of summers and became involved in the 4-H horse program.
My sister and I were both kind of horse fanatics, so every opportunity to be around horses or ride a horse, we were all about it. But I took riding lessons when we lived in Virginia, and on my 5th lesson I fell off and broke my shoulder, so I had to lay in traction for 5 weeks, and then my mom didn't want me to ever ride again. I fell on a barbed wire fence one time, had to get 29 stitches. It was like big accident prone, but my love of horses overwhelmed my accident proneness, and eventually I pursued animal science.
After graduating high school from Salem Academy, Saundra attended Clemson University with an eye towards becoming a veterinarian. She worked her way through college, spending summers working as a 4-H camp counselor, and during the school year as a resident assistant in her dormitory, and a farm laborer at Clemson's sheep and horse unit. Her junior fall term, Saundra reevaluated her career goals, envisioning a life working with healthy animals and young people. After graduating from Clemson, she entered Texas A&M in pursuit of a master's degree.
In 1977-78, there weren't very many women in animal science. Certainly not that many county agents that were women, and I thought I needed to be more qualified than the average guy to be employed as a county agent, so graduate school got on the radar screen. So I looked at programs that offered horse, and reproduction was my favorite area of the classwork that I did, so it was kind of a progression for me. I didn't make any of those decisions deliberately. It's just God had a plan for me, and He opened doors.
Saundra would go on to earn her PhD in reproductive physiology at Texas A&M, and in October 1985, applied for a newly created extension position at the University of Florida. Roger West, then Animal Sciences Department Chair, hired Saundra as an assistant professor and the department's first Extension Youth Livestock Specialist.
When I first came to the University of Florida, there was one other woman in the department, so I was the second woman in the department. And when Roger offered me the position, I said, if you're hiring me because I'm a woman, I don't want to come. I want you to hire me because you think I'm the best person for the position. And he assured me that I was.
Well, she came from Texas A&M, and they had a large horse youth program, and that's what we were really interested in. So she fit the mold of what we wanted to hire here in the program we wanted her to run.
The importance of reaching out to youth in an educational capacity was something that Roger West felt very strongly about. We particularly wanted to attract the youth that come from rural and farm backgrounds that have an interest already in livestock. So kind of grow those livestock programs, put the focus on education.
Saundra quickly became the department's touchstone for many youth livestock programs. In the days before the internet and smartphones, Saundra crisscrossed the state, working with youth as well as volunteer leaders, ag teachers, county agents, and producers. From judging livestock shows and conducting livestock competitions to hosting skill-a-thons and quiz bowls, she tirelessly sought ways to engage kids and introduced an educational component to everything she did.
She'd go down for state fair for 2 weeks and come back and teach class, then go back down 2 days later, you know, and spend the bulk of 2 weeks down there always. She was always working on a lesson plan, or, you know, a lesson, or sometimes watching a video, listening to a video, you know, to get new material for her own classes and things like that.
Over the next 17 years, Saundra found new ways to bring young people and animal science together, serving 4-H through the 67 county extension offices, FFA through over 250 vocational agriculture programs, the Junior Florida Cattlemen's Association, and a myriad of youth livestock programs through countless fairs and organizations.
She steps up and initiates things. She'll reach out and send me an email and say, hey, I know XYZ date we're going to do something, and she will, you know, already be 3 steps ahead of me formulating a plan. Let's say it's the quiz bowl. She goes, I'm pulling together the questions and communicating with my other volunteer leaders in my junior program in our association, and we have our ducks in a row, so to speak, and we're prepared and ready.
She's a very good planner. She'll have things planned in advance and on paper. But when you get in the heat of a moment, like a contest, and you're dealing with volunteers and animals, sometimes you have to be highly adaptable. And it rolls right off of her. She is rigidly flexible.
Something Saundra found troubling about many fair livestock shows was the emphasis on the auction rather than learning about real-world agriculture. Participants appeared to be rewarded, not necessarily for their efforts, but often for having deep pockets. Working with Lisa Hinton of the Florida State Fair and Professor Don Wakeman, Saundra helped develop the Steer Futurity and Champion Youth programs. The Florida State Fair Steer Futurity would replace traditional auctions with a real-world model of buying and selling calves. Florida cattlemen participate by providing weaned calves at market price for youth to raise, show, then sell at market price. Through the Futurity, participants would learn the true cost of raising cattle while earning scholarship money. Saundra also helped develop the educational component to the fair's showcase, the Champion Youth program.
But what we added was Champion Youth. And this aspect of it recognizes the young people for their participation in the program. Regardless of the money they have to spend on a great animal, they can become a Champion Youth based on their participation.
The Champion Youth program moved the emphasis from showing steers to the work of the youth and featured a wide variety of livestock, including sheep, rabbits, and chickens. Participants would also be rewarded for their individual efforts based on achievement in record books, skill-a-thons, illustrated talks and demonstrations, and interacting with the public. At the end of the fair, the highest-ranked youth in 8 different livestock categories meet in a round-robin competition for a chance to become the Champion of Champions.
The winners that night win thousands of dollars in scholarship money and become what we call the Florida State Fair ambassadors for the next year. And they go out and help promote the program and represent the Florida State Fair and the ag industry.
So it's just, to me, the concept is that we're raising kids, not animals. And this program recognizes that fact and puts the emphasis on raising kids.
Components of the Champion Youth program have been adopted by fairs across the state and the nation. Saundra was part of a team that initiated a youth livestock ethics curriculum and certification program. It encourages good management practices and prepares students to talk to the public on topics like raising animals for consumption. Developed for the Florida State Fair, this program has been adopted by numerous other county fairs. This expansion of the program led to a need for certified trainers. Saundra helps conduct Train the Trainer certification programs to empower youth educators to deliver the curriculum for their county fairs.
I was here that day.
Horses have always been a passion for Saundra, so she was honored when, in 2001, she was assigned State Horse Specialist, a position she currently holds. As an equine subject matter expert, Saundra serves as the go-to person for county agents from South Florida to the Panhandle. Her position also makes her a member of Extension Horses Incorporated, a nationwide group of equine specialists. Through it, she helps with social media, online web courses, and curriculum development. As an expert, she has contributed to several instructive manuals, like the Horse Industry Handbook as well as the state's BMP manual for horse farms. She has also been recognized for her support of the Black Stallion Literacy Project, which inspired first graders to read Walter Farley's Little Black, a Pony, by providing opportunities for them to interact with real horses, often for the first time. Although Saundra still has an active extension presence, over time her role as teacher within the department increased.
I taught the reproductive physiology course that every animal science student has to take. So I was exposed to the breadth of our animal science students. And as they begin to relate to me, the more students came to me. So early on, I probably formally advised 35 to 50 students a semester. And I would say as undergrad coordinator, well over 400 or 500 a semester.
Saundra served 7 years as undergraduate coordinator, as well as an academic advisor, chaired the scholarship committee, is a member of the UF Veterinary School Admissions Committee, served as advisor to numerous groups like Block and Bridle Club, and despite keeping a full calendar, is ready to volunteer for projects that benefit her students.
Prime example, when we lost our opportunity to have a horse judging team coach, Saundra stepped up and said, I'll do that. Now she already was working a lot of hours, working a lot of weekends. She didn't stop any of her other duties. She was still an advisor to clubs. She still was an advisor to students. She was still doing all her teaching curriculum. She was still handling her extension responsibilities, but she also stepped up and said, I'll coach the horse judging team.
One of her less known accomplishments, Saundra coached the university's high tensile wire fence building team for 4 years, winning the national championship 3 out of 4 times at the Sunbelt Expo. The winning teams were awarded trips to compete in New Zealand. Over the years, she has garnered a reputation for showing tough love, calling upon students to work hard, serve others, choose to do the right thing, and accept the consequences of your actions.
I'm okay with people thinking I'm tough as long as they think I'm fair. And they know that when I don't ever say anything to hurt someone, the things I say are intended to help them raise their own bar.
Her sense of fairness and love has also earned her the nickname Mama T.
You know, the Mama T moniker came from Saundra's nurturing atmosphere, and she has your best interest at heart. I mean, she's the one that sets the bar for everybody else. She gets to know the students. She lets them come into her office anytime. She takes their phone calls, their emails. You know, she sits down with them one-on-one and tries to help them develop a plan to be successful at the next level. But I would also tell you, if a student's having a struggle, she'll call them in and help them get straightened out too.
I've seen it time and time again. If she sees a quality in a person that's not going to be a right fit down the road, possibly, she tries to make sure that they explore other avenues of their talents. You know, some people could offend you if they said, you're not good at that. Saundra has a way of saying, let's explore another quality trait that I see in you.
You know, the other cool thing that she has done, she's been here long enough, and I'm not calling her old or anything, she's been here long enough that she's been generational. So she has trained the parents, she has taught the parents, and now she's teaching their children, and that's kind of a cool thing. It doesn't happen in very many places.
I remember some of my earliest interactions with Dr. TenBroeck, being a high school student participating in one of her horse judging contests. That was intimidating because this was the Dr. TenBroeck that our agriculture teacher kept referencing through those weeks of training to be in that contest. And then all of a sudden there is Dr. TenBroeck, and you hear her voice on the PA system officiating that contest at the state fair, and then you interact with her, and she's super nice, but at the same time she's very stern and to be quite honest, and don't tell her I said this, but very intimidating. Little did I know I would have the opportunity to work alongside her as a colleague over the last 20 years or so as I've been in this role at Florida FFA.
A humble person, Saundra TenBroeck has received a lot of well-deserved recognition. She has been awarded the American Youth Horse Council's Distinguished Service Award, twice recognized as the Florida Ag Extension 4-H Agents Specialist of the Year, UF College of Ag and Life Sciences Advisor of the Year, Florida FFA Blue and Gold Award, and UF Block and Bridle Club Teacher of the Year.
But I like Noah's horse here too.
And while she is the first to help others, Saundra knows that she could achieve nothing without her faith in God and the love of her family. Her husband Tim, 3 children, Ryan, Renna, and Rebecca, and 2 grandchildren. While their children are no longer at home, the couple enjoys life on their 10-acre property, caring for 7 horses, 2 dogs, and the family mascot, Oni the pony.
Hardest lesson I've ever learned from when I started to now is I don't have to do it all by myself, whether it's at home or at work. I thought as a single brand new female faculty I had to do it all, and we can't. So there are other people around for a reason, and to embrace that team approach to everything you do, whether it's at home or at work or in the community, we are way better together than we are individually.